I'm supposed to, actually, this is the bit when I say about myself, which a lot of you know anyway, but before I say anything about me, I want to say something about the times we're living in, and what we need to do in this workshop to make that a little different for us. These are difficult times for a lot of people. A lot of people are far more isolated and lonely than usual. For example, a lot of people are having worries they don't normally have. A lot of people not sleeping as well as they normally would, or maybe almost not at all. You know, it's a lot of stuff going on. And one of the evidences of that is that we're all gathered here on Zoom and not in the room with each other. So I'd like us all to remember that when we're working in the image world, we are connected through time and space, and that our image worlds are connected to each other. That happens when we're in the same room, but it can also happen if we consciously connect ourselves to each other. So I'm going to suggest that for a moment, you just imagine that you're sending your love to all the people in the group, the ones you know and the ones you don't know, and feel that love coming back to you, and just kind of recognize that we are in the same world together, even though we're not in the same room. It's a hard thing to learn, but we have got to learn it right now. And so I'm going to also put on the gallery view so I can see as many of you as possible. So just look around at everybody and just imagine that you're in the same room, but in a different dimension. So you can connect to each other, but you can't actually physically see each other. And just imagine that you're connecting, you're sending love, and you're feeling the presence of these people. These are the people that we are about to go on a journey with. And we're going to be sharing, because we have a bit more time this time, I'm going to sometimes ask you to share, unmute and share if you want to, rather than just by chat, so that we can feel that we're together. Okay, so I'm just going to give you a moment and myself to connect. And to know that we are one, that we are in the same world together. And that we are all here because we want to be here and we want to be connected to each other. Okay, thank you. And I can feel that we're beginning to make that work for ourselves. So just let me just say a little bit about myself. Which a lot of you know, because I recognize a lot of you in the audience. I co-founded Skiros Holidays in 1979, which seems like ancient history, with my ex-husband Yanis, and it was a place that we could create community. That was like the most important thing. Well, besides the fact that it was on a Greek island, which was quite important, and so that we created community, we had courses. But one of the important principles is being ourselves in the presence of another. And I'd like us to feel that we can do that here, even though we're not physically in the presence. And as a result of that, there was an enormous amount of life change that happened as a result of Skiros. And I would meet people all over the world who would say to me, Skiros changed my life. And I'm also, as you know, a pioneer working with imagery. I've been doing that formally since about 1984, probably before that. I'm now in Puglia in southern Italy, in a town called Monopoli. Some of you have been here because I was running courses. I started this Aurora Center to run courses and to run training courses, but COVID has got in the way. And so, but I'm still hoping that when we do a training course that's I'm planning now in imagery, and I hope many of you will come, that we'll have some courses in person, because I do miss that. And just going to show you my books. If some of you have asked about them. And all of them have about imagery, and many of them are about Skiros as well. So this is the first book, Life Choices, Life Changes. I wrote that 1989, and it was the beginning of this world of imagery for me. And it's like a textbook. It's got all the exercises. Some are a little different nowadays, but for example, the exercise we're doing today is in there. And then came The Joy of Burnout, which I know many of you have read. And it's about saying that burnout is not what we think. And it's a step on our soul journey. And you're going to be okay. And it's meaningful. It's not just a failure. And then came You Are What You Imagine, which is about taking you step by step, 10 steps to a new beginning. And then Into the Woods and Out Again, which is a memoir about a certain powerful period of my life, including when I was psychotic in the mental hospital and describing what it's like to go crazy, and then became normal. And then that was hard. I didn't like that. And then started Skiros and so on and so forth. So I'm inviting you to have a look at these books. All the books are available on Amazon and in Kindle on Amazon because it's too difficult to send books out from the website. But you can get MP3s of all these exercises on my website, and you can be taken through it by me. Okay, that's enough about me. And I want to now say something about this life change exercise that I'm going to be doing and what the principles of it are. Because these exercises are not just, let's try out this and that. They're based on certain principles of how you create change and how you don't succeed in creating a change. And there's a lot of you here probably thinking there's something you've been finding difficult to change in your life. Why is it so difficult? So I want to tell you about some of the preconditions of making a change and getting to a wholehearted yes, as I talked about in the story about this. Now, what do we need to do? Now, the first thing is a little surprising. The first thing is we need to accept ourselves as we are now before we've made that change. And why is that? Because as you know for yourself, if someone's critical of you and wants you to change, either you don't change and you dig your heels in, or you change, you feel pissed off and you don't feel any better afterwards. So, and I once wrote an article called, I would accept myself unconditionally if only I were different. And I think that is the principle that we operate on. You can change and then I'll love you. And that doesn't work. So the first thing is we have to accept that even if we never change, we're still the lovable people that we have been with all our lives. The person you are is the person that you've been with all your lives. And he or she deserves a break sometimes, as you know. The second thing is that you need an image of yourself as you will be after this change, an image that is clear and that is positive. And this is something that people often don't realize, that they want to change, but they either have no image of what they'll be like afterwards. And therefore it's like jumping off a cliff. And I'll be doing an exercise on jumping off a cliff later. Or they have a negative picture of it. So for example, if I said, I want to be the life of the party, I want to be the sort of person that shines. And then I get myself a picture of it and I realize I'm feeling stabbed by envy. So that's my fear, that if I were the life of the party, people would be envious of me. So no wonder I say I want to do it, but I really don't, because there's a negative association. So what we need to do is to get a picture that our conscious and unconscious agree would be a good thing. And if the picture that you get isn't pleasant when we do this exercise, that's why you haven't been able to change. And that's why you have to change the picture until you get one that you're happy with. We'll be doing it with screens. You might even step out of the screen and get another one. you know, because we need to want to go there. The picture tells us, I want to go there. If you don't want to go there, it's not going to work for you, even if you think you do. The next thing is to be able to look back. So when we get a picture of how we want to be, we're going to want to look back and say, how did I get it there? What decision did I have to make? What choice did I make? What did I have to stop doing? What did I have to let go of? So I need to see a clear path between where I am and where I want to be. It's not just a leap of faith. There's a thing I have to do, a choice I have to make. So we need to see that. And then there comes the issue, even once we've got the picture and we've accepted ourselves as we are and we've seen the way, we have to make a decision to do what we have to do to get there. Okay. And that is about putting the will behind it. And there are two aspects to this which are really important and sound a little bit opposite, but we have to hold both. And one of them is, I accept the fact that this is possible, that this is desirable, and that I will do whatever I have to get there. That's the commitment I make. I'm willing to do everything to get there. And the second bit is to say, and I'm not omnipotent. I may not get there. I can't make it happen. I don't have to have it. So that in the unlikely event that it doesn't happen, I'll still be able to ask what's next. So this is like a farmer. He tills the soil, plants the seeds, but he can't make the sunshine and the rainfall. We're all at the mercy of forces that are also bigger than us. So if we put all our energy, we have a clear picture of that, 99% will get there. But if we don't, we're still okay, because going back to the first step, we love each other as ourselves as we are, even if we never make that change. Okay, and it's terribly important, this thing, because what happens to people while they don't put all that energy in this, they're afraid of disappointment, so they don't try. Or they try so hard, they say, I've got to do it, I've got to do it, I've got to do it. They don't release it, they don't let it go. So you have to combine, I'm choosing to do this, I'll do whatever I have to, and I don't have to have it, and I'll still be okay. And then we can breathe a sigh of relief. We can do our little exercise, which includes setting off a bubble and so on. I'll show you about that later. And off we go. And then we make it happen in the image world or in the universe or whatever you want to call it. We make it happen first in the image world, and then the real world follows. Okay? That's how you make changes more easily than you do if you try to do it in the real world first. Okay, so breakout group time, okay? And I've got two breakout groups this time because we have more time. And we're gonna have a PowerPoint which people can photograph. Is that right, John?
Yeah, I'm just gonna pick that up. So I just had a massive sneeze. That's why I was away from the camera for a moment. You probably see me disappear for a second. Okay, so, let me get the PowerPoint now.
In this breakout group one, you're going to each say your name, how you're feeling right now, the kind of usual introduction, and then what change do you want in your life that is hard to do? And then why is it hard and why is it important? Okay. So your name, how you're feeling, what changed, which is hard, and why is it important? Okay, off you go.
If anybody wants to take, just before we click the button, if anybody wants to take a quick snap on with your smartphone, so you've got those questions. Sorry, Dina, I'm interrupting you there.
No, you're not.
Yeah, but it just means you've got the questions for the breakout room.
Yeah. Lovely. You need that. You need to know what to talk about. I'm sure you'd find something to talk about.
So back in 15 minutes?
Yeah, okay, 15 minutes, yeah.
Oh, here we are. Everybody's coming back in. I think we're almost all back together again. Yeah. Great. Welcome back, everyone. Good to have us all in the room together. Yeah. So I guess we're hoping to take some feedback.
Yeah.
Dina.
I'm going to suggest that those people want to share something from your experience just now, that you could put it in the chat room, or if there's something you'd really like to say, we're going to take a few minutes. I think there's rubbish bins in the background, don't worry. If you want to really say something, then raise your hand and we can get a couple of people to unmute and say something. It'd be nice to feel our presence, not just in the chat room. So if there's something that feels really important, then raise your hand and we'll hear from a couple of people.
Margot, I can see you got your hand up, so let's see if you should be getting a little invitation to unmute. Okay.
Yeah, I'm unmuted, yeah.
Ah, good, great.
Yeah, I just like to say that what I loved about the Breakout group was that we shared something about self-sabotage. It was a reminder for me of the ways I sabotaged myself. And I just say thanks to the group, and I wanted to share that with everybody.
Oh, lovely. And do you know why you self-sabotage?
No.
And do you know how you self-sabotage?
Yes, I think so. Yeah, but I do it anyway, for sure.
Anyway, no, it's quite.
No, I think I don't really know when I'm doing it till I've done it.
Until it's too late, yeah.
Until it's too late, yeah.
Okay, so let's see whether you can do this. After this exercise, you'll understand more about that, about why you self-sabotage. I'm sure a lot more of you could say that about yourselves and self-sabotage. I think we all do that.
Yeah.
But you know what? Sometimes self-sabotage isn't what it looks like. It's maybe that unconsciously you don't agree with doing. You haven't fully agreed. There's some reason that you haven't come to a yes. And then you call it sabotage, but it might actually be, I'm not ready for that. Something else has to, some other penny has to drop, you know, something like that.
I can see some more feedback in the chat room. Oh, but Sue, you've got your hand up if you want to see if we can get your audio working.
It just really resonated with me what you said then about self-sabotage. It's almost as if you do it unconsciously because part of you believes that what you're aiming for you don't deserve.
Yeah. Okay, so that's one of the things. I don't have a right to have it. I don't deserve it. I'm not going to get it. It's not possible for someone like me to have it. Why bother? I might as well accept or get resigned, not accept, be resigned to how it is now. At least I haven't made a fool of myself. Yeah. So that's what we're going to work with. I'd love to just hear, we're going to start in a minute, but I'd love to just hear what people want to change. What was the change that people are asking for? Can anybody put it down on the chat room, what the change is? So we can get some idea what people are doing. I don't know why, I just remember a guy who said he wanted to be enlightened. And I said, what would that be like? And he said, I'd be wearing a long robe and there'd be women sitting and kissing the hems of my robe. I never forgot him. Okay, health and well-being, health, promoting novels, stop needing to be loved by everyone, meet a new partner, a tidy, clean house. Oh, that sounds good. To make a greater contribution, getting in touch with feelings, be more visible, fitness, self-belief, career shift. Wow. We should all do all these things. We'll be hopping. Confidence to start a new business, confidence to do all the changes, being an artist, ending a relationship. Fantastic. Okay, this is great. Absolutely great. Okay, setting better boundaries, getting a new home. Okay, should we go for it?
Let's go. Let's go. There's a lot to get on with here, isn't there?
Yeah, there's a lot of changes about
Thank
to
you,
happen
everyone.
in this room.
Yes,
And,
fantastic.
you can almost see them happening. The new house, the new partner, get rid of the old partner, all of that. New work, become famous, all that. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. I'm going to do a bit of a relaxation, and then we're going to do the exercise is really called a magic cinema. Some of you, I'm sure, have done it with me. We're going to go into a cinema. We're going to see ourselves as we are now before we've made the change. We're going to send love to that person. Remember, we have to accept the person we are now. We're going to then see the person we will be. Then we'll find out what it's like, figure out how we got there. And then we're going to make a commitment. But I think we'll do that a little bit later. So, and at certain points, I might ask you to share, and then people could chat. But if someone had really, the picture of ourselves as we are now is sometimes very funny. It's sometimes a caricature of yourself. So don't be surprised at the pictures that you get. And if anybody wants to share the picture they've got, what you would say is, my change is get a new partner. My picture is I'm sitting on my own, standing on my head. No, I'm standing on my head doing yoga by myself. That's it. Maybe that's the picture. Okay, so should we go? So I want you to all just let your eyes close. Just breathing, just relaxing, just breathing, just surprising myself how easy it is to relax in my own place, but in the presence of all these people who want what I want, a positive change in my life. So I'm relaxing and feeling absolutely safe. There's nothing I have to be happy that I don't already have. Whatever I'm choosing is because I want to, not because I have to. So how I am is absolutely perfect. So just relaxing into that, remembering how perfect I am, just as I am. And now I'd like you to roll your eyeballs up towards the ceiling and let them drop. Forget your eyes. Notice any tension in your body. Smile at it. Say hello to it. Forget your body. Imagine that you've got a big light above your head. And this light has the power to soften, smooth, relax, absorb whatever doesn't serve you, and heal. This is a magic light. And of course, light is always magical. And we've all got our light around us. So imagine that there's a light above my head and I'm pulling it down. And as it touches the top of my head, I go, and I'd like you all to sigh, even though we can't hear you, to really relax and feel that light touching the top of my head, bringing me peace and healing. And imagine that that light is just like suffusing through my whole head, clearing my brain of all those words and all those worries and all those fears and all those doubts. I don't need those right now. I'm absorbing them into the light. And the light's also clearing my eyes, my nose, my lips, my tongue, my throat, clearing my whole head until all I can feel in my head is light. And then I pull the light down through my neck and my shoulders. Ah, imagine that light's massaging my shoulders. Peace, peace, peace. And then I pull the light down through my torso, my breast or chest, my upper back, my lower back, my belly, clearing, cleansing, healing, my arms, my wrists, my fingers, relaxing, healing, softening. And the light is just absorbing all the stuff that doesn't serve me. Pulling it down through my bum, genitals, my legs, my knees, absorbing, healing, softening, cleansing, clearing, down through my lower legs, my feet. Phew. And then let the light sink into the earth, down to the center of the earth, where Mother Earth will take all this that the light has absorbed, and the light will deposit it, give it to Mother Earth, who use it as food. Well, I learned that from some shamans from Peru, that's what Mother Earth does, that Mother Earth loves all that stuff that you don't want. It recycles it. She recycles it. And then Mother Earth sends up a lightness from the center of the earth through your feet, your legs, your torso, your neck, and your head. And let your mind or spirit or consciousness be light. And imagine your mind or spirit or consciousness is so light that it floats up as if through a hole in the top of your head and floats off like a cloud in a summer afternoon. And now I want you to imagine that you're sitting in a cinema, a magic cinema. This is your own private cinema. You have the absolutely best seat in the world. And when you can feel this plush seat that you're sitting in, leaning back, really comfortable, could you just raise your hand, physically just raise your hand so I can see you all are there. Okay, great. Okay, just really getting comfortable. Okay, and then I want you to see a screen up ahead of you, which, as I've said, is a magic screen, okay? Because this is your magic cinema, okay? And if you can see the screen, again, just raise your hand so I know you're with me. Just raise your hand. Thank you so much. Okay, great. Okay, now, I want you to allow to emerge. That means step aside and let it happen. A picture, or it could be a video of yourself as you are now, before you've made the change you've asked for. As you are now, before you've made the change you've asked for. So take your time and wait until that picture appears. And if you've got a picture, can you again raise your hand so I know you're with me? Great. Okay. And do a couple of people want to share? If you do want to share, then you could just raise your hand, and John Wesley can unmute you. And anybody want to say something about something surprising that you're seeing?
I thought I saw a hand up there, but I can. Joe Harley. Joe, let's see if we can ask you to unmute. Okay, Joe.
I can. Oh, you can hear me.
Yeah.
Yes, we can. Hi,
now,
Joe.
what's the change you wanted, Joe, first?
In my work, I want to is visibility to make a bigger contribution. I feel like I'm working very small at the moment. I want to.
And the picture of yourself?
Pardon?
The picture that you saw of yourself.
I saw myself in a raindrop. It was almost like seeing me in my life, like but in a little raindrop, or hanging off a leaf.
Or hanging off a leaf. And what did that mean to you?
That sense of it's almost feeling like running around in a circle, but this sense of I'm attached to something that's far, far bigger, but just being this small kind of raindrop at the moment. I'm inside that.
Oh, wow. It's a beautiful image, Jeff.
Yeah,
Thank you.
quite strong. Thank you.
Anybody else want to share? Can we have one more person want to share what your image is? Anybody?
Just watch and see if anybody's waving or...
Margot Gorman raised her hand.
Margot, did I miss you? Let's see. I'm just going to ask you to unmute just in case.
I've unmuted.
Hi, Margot. Yes,
Yeah.
great.
Oh, after that beautiful image, I have to say mine was dreadful. First of all, I came.
What's your life change first, Margot? What is it?
I want to be able to have the confidence and image to promote my novels.
Okay, got it. And the picture?
The picture of me was, first of all, the first image I got was me in my garden in gear, looking like really messy and hoping that nobody would catch me on any kind of camera. And the second one was me in bed, lying in bed, thinking, wide awake and thinking of all the things I want to do and putting off getting up. And the third one was going down to a big heap of dishes by the side of the sink.
Oh my God. So it was a little video of
video of how I am, not every day,
are.
but on the days when it's not so good.
Thank you for sharing that.
It is how it is.
It feels like a familiar picture to me as well. Okay, thank you. Okay, so should we continue then, John?
Okay, yes, let's do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now I'm going to ask you to think about, how do I feel about that person on the screen? How do I feel about that person? Do I feel, just thinking about this, do I feel irritated with him or her? Do I feel angry? Do I feel they're pathetic? Do I feel impatient? What do I feel about that person? Do I feel critical? Do I feel, oh, get on with it? That kind of thing. I want you just to notice underneath how you feel about that person who hasn't made that life change. And really go deep, so you really recognize your real attitude to that person. And now, here's that trick that I said, that you can't change unless you accept yourself as you are. So can't change and make a difference with your life. So I'm going to ask you now to let go of all those feelings, which are critical and are not helpful to this person, and to look at this person you see and say, she or he are doing their best in a difficult world, and send them love, compassion, and respect. So compassion for their pain and limitations, and respect for their magnificence. I want you to remember how magnificent this person is, and have compassion also for the times that they're not feeling very magnificent. And this is the human condition. So I want you to send your love and your respect until that person has got it and looks a little different. And again, I'd like you to raise your hands when you can see the person on the screen has got it and is looking a little different. Okay, some of you are raising your hands. Beam that love in, beam the love in. Make sure that person gets it. Okay, I'm not seeing a lot of hands. Hands up if the person's gotten it. Great. Okay, great. Good. Okay, so if the person has gotten it, I want you to move that person over to the left, off the screen, this is how I used to be. Left is the past. This is how I used to be until a moment ago. And then I want you to invite that person to sit next to you in the cinema and put your arm around him or her, because they've really exposed themselves now. And I want you to give them a really nice arm around them. Okay. And when you've done that, just raise a hand so I know you're with me. Hands raising, great. And feel that lovely person who you are appreciating as they are now. That is a great gift you give someone, to appreciate them as they are now, even when they're feeling awful. Okay, especially when they're feeling awful. Okay, now close your eyes again if they're not closed. And the screen should be empty. And now I want you to allow to emerge on that screen a picture of yourself as you will be after you've made that life change. A picture of yourself as you will be after you've made that life change. Okay, and then we're going to sit here quietly for a moment and let that picture come up, picture or a video of yourself as you will be after you've made that life change. Wow. Okay, does anybody want to share? Does anybody want to share what they can see? Anything a little surprising or a little wonderful? You can either put it in the chat room or raise your hand if you would like to say something.
So I'll keep my eye on everybody. Justina, I can see your messages. That sounds like you're a couple of steps back as well.
You
so
haven't
just...
given your person the love yet. Okay, go for it. Give the person your love if you haven't yet.
Okay, so maybe this, while we're taking some comments, there's a bit of time for that.
Yeah, and then when she gets it, invite her off the screen and have her sit next to you, and then let a picture emerge of how you will be. But I can say that again at the end. Okay. Does anyone else want to say
Priscilla.
anything?
Okay, Priscilla, let's see if we can bring you on.
Hi, my change was forgiveness, and I realized it was also guilt of myself. My first image was me trying to balance plates, spinning. And when I invited myself into the theatre, I gave myself a hug. That was very emotional. I still feel really emotional about it.
I can see that.
Because I felt that I'd carried so much, tried so hard, and those plates they weren't spinning correctly, they were wobbling, and I was panicking, but I'm still going. But when I went back on the screen, I was no longer spinning plates, I was painting them.
Oh, that's beautiful.
So that was huge, thank you.
And remind me what your change was?
My change was forgiveness.
Oh, forgiveness. But this is
and
really about
guilt.
forgiving yourself. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And maybe forgiving any people in your past who expected a lot of you.
Yeah.
And that you decided to go along with that.
It was my dad I wanted to forgive.
Yeah. And did he expect too much of you? Yeah, and you're still doing it. So send him love and say, I love you, but I'm not going to do them anymore. Okay, thank you. Thank you. That was a beautiful sharing. Yeah.
Yes,
and anybody else?
I can see Noala Carey. You've got your hand up, but it's been up for a little while, so it might not be in response to what's happening just now. I'm just going to see if we can Nope, your hand's gone down. No problem. No problem at all. Yeah.
Okay. So no one wants to, oh, I have here two.
Oh, Sue, I can see. Sue, you've got your hand up. Let's see if we can unmute you, Sue.
Hello.
Hi, Sue. Yes, hello.
This is really scary, but this was my change. I feel a bit emotional to speak up in a larger group.
Oh, wow, there you are.
I'm actually quite, my heart's going. I've seen Priscilla lots of times. I've always been really daunted by her confidence in speaking up in a group. And the thing I saw at first was me in a very tangled net. I'm not sure exactly what the net was, but it wasn't letting me move forward. It was holding me back. And then I was sitting in the seats and holding myself as a child, not speaking up, very, very quiet, shy child, not listened to. That's what I felt all my life. Nobody's listening. And I don't know if that's why I went into being a counsellor, because I was doing the listening.
Yeah.
So the change was to be brave enough to speak up and communicate and say what I want, particularly in a larger group, which is scary to me. So I feel like I could run around in circles now going, woohoo, because I'm so excited because I did it.
You did it. You did it, and you did it beautifully.
Thank you.
With all your heart.
Yeah.
You didn't do it the way.
A little bit nervous, but that was.
It might be you think you should do it in some kind of polished way, but really you opened your heart, and that was absolutely wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
Thank you, Sue. Thank you.
Okay. So so there's some beautiful sharings, and you see it looks like oh, we just want to change, but underneath this is a wealth of deep feelings, and this is what stopped us. So don't get too irritated with yourself. You can see these are amazing things we're doing. Okay, so let's keep going. So next step is I want you to is everybody caught up with us? Is there anybody having a problem?
I just want to check in with Justina, just to make sure you're all right and feeling caught up.
Justine?
Justina was just letting us know.
Yes.
Yeah. I think you were saying it's about getting the image sitting beside us. Yeah.
Okay,
like
so you're not caught up yet. Okay. So I'm just going to do that bit of the picture again. So those of you who got a picture, just ignore it. But if you haven't yet got a picture, you're sitting in the cinema, and I want you to allow a picture to emerge of yourself as you will be after you've made this change. Yourself as you will be after you've made this change. And I want to say, some of you may not even get a picture. I remember working with people that wanted to stop smoking, and they had no picture of being a non-smoker. They just couldn't get it. I remember being very struck by that. So even if you haven't got a picture, step into the screen anyway. Okay. So I want you to now walk up to the screen if you haven't yet done it, and step into that film and step into the person that you will be, and breathe into being that person, into being that person. I am this future person. She or he is me now. Okay, and I want you to feel, how does it feel physically to be this person? Physically, how does it feel? What's my posture like? How am I standing? All that. How's my heart beating? Everything. How does it feel physically? How does it feel mentally? What's going on in that little brain of mine, especially the control mind bit that's in the forehead? How do I feel emotionally? How do I feel spiritually? What is the essence of being me as this picture? What is the essence of being me as this picture, as this person? What makes me me? What's my main quality? Okay. And now I want to know if any of you are willing to just stand up and walk around. How do I walk as this person? How do I move as this person? So if some of you are willing to walk around, just get the feeling of the way you move as this person, because you'll be walking very differently as this person. Or if you don't want to get up, then imagine getting up. How do you walk as this person? Okay? How do you talk as this person? What do you say to yourself as this person? This can be very moving. What do I say to myself as this person? And now I want you to think about a day in your life as this person. How do you wake up in the morning, if you do? How do you feel when you first greet the day? What do you eat for breakfast, if you do? How do you go to work, if you do? And I want you to notice what is different about your day. And think of something that the other person, the past person, found difficult. How do you manage it? How do you manage it? Just notice what's different. Okay. And now I'm going to ask you to imagine that behind you is an expert in being a person like this, an expert in being visible, or an expert in having a clean house, or whatever it is that you're aiming for. So I want you to imagine, and again, if you want to get up, or turn around in your chair. I want you to turn around and see who that expert is. So physically turn around. Who is that expert? And whoever it is, ask their name if you don't know their name, and see if there's any bit of advice you need from them. What is it that you don't know how to do that they know? What are you finding difficult that they know how to do? And then when you're ready, you could imagine switching roles, being that expert. Now, again, you can either get up or just slightly move in your chair. Be the expert. As the expert, look at yourself. Look at self. Can you give a little bit of advice to self about this new way of being? And then switch back to being self and receive that message. And that expert will always be there for you. You can always go back and check out, what should I do now? Okay. And then moving over somewhere else, I want you to imagine standing behind you is someone who's like your cheerleader, who really supports you, who wants you to make this change, who says, go for it. Okay. So I want you to turn around and see who that is. Turn around and see who that is. And tell them what help you need. And again, switch roles and be that cheerleader, the one that says, yes, go for it. What do you want to say to self? And then come back in being self and receive that message. Okay? And this is a really important question I'm going to ask you now. They're all important, but this is especially important. I'm going to ask you to look back at the person you were who's sitting in that cinema screen, in that cinema seat. The person you were. And I want you to ask yourself, how did I get from there to here? What step did I take? What choice did I make? What did I let go of? What did I do or not do or drop or add in to get from there to here? There's some shift I made. What was it? Okay, and I want you to really think about that. What did I do? But think about it as if you have a memory. I was once like that, and now I'm like this. How did I get here? Okay, how did I get here? And I want you to turn around and talk to that person you were and tell him or her something that would help them make this shift. You've done it. You're going to tell them, the person that you were before you made the change, you're going to tell them something helpful. Okay, you can do it because you've got here now. As someone who's got here and said, I used to be like you and now I'm like this. And this is my advice. Okay, then come back. And when you're ready, go back out of this screen, out of the picture, back into the audience. And when you've done that, would you raise a hand so I know you're with me? You've come out of the screen and you're back in the audience. And you might want to reflect for a moment on which picture you want. And whether you're going to be willing to commit yourself to that. Okay. And we'll talk about that a bit later, and you have a chance to discuss that in your breakout room. But for now, does anybody want to share something? We could have a couple of people sharing, either in the chat room or people who want to take the risk and speak up.
Okay. Yes.
Okay.
Keep my eye out for colleagues who are waving at the camera, putting the hand up, or
I see John Neal.
John Neal. Okay.
John, you're still muted.
Hopefully we'll get you unmuted in a moment, John. That's you.
Right. Yeah, I had, that was very useful for me, but I did suddenly hit like a big barrier or problem that was holding me back from achieving things. That's my observation.
And what was the barrier? Can you tell us?
Yeah, I was thinking of moving to a sunnier place, but I've also got an old mother who's hanging around. She's 91, and other commitments maybe my partner as well. And I just feel suddenly I had the vision okay, but then I suddenly thought, oh my God, but what am I going to do about them? And that really kind of froze me in my vision, you know.
So I want to know, do you think that there's any way that you could have your heart's desire in a slightly different way that wouldn't completely go against your commitments? This is where you have to play around with the picture. And maybe that traveling to some sunny place and staying there forever by yourself when everybody else is left back home isn't going to work. Maybe the picture's a little wrong.
Yeah.
But maybe there's a way to get a picture. And this is what I'm saying, until the picture is clear, you're not going to be able to do it. And it's not clear because it doesn't fit with the rest of your life. And you're a responsible person, obviously, so you don't want to mess everything up, and you still want your heart's desire. So I suggest that you go back into the audience, maybe in the break, and get another picture. Ask for a picture of yourself as you will be after you've made that change in a balanced way. Be curious what might come up.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah, thanks.
Well, thank you for that, John. Okay, and
Thank you, John. We've got Susan as well.
okay, Susan, where are you? Okay.
So just working your audio and then you should get an invite to unmute. Great, Susan, thank you.
Hi, Dina, that was really interesting. Yeah, it felt like a success. I felt like I made the shift, and this great yellow being of light was there to advise me and just showed me about how to pull myself fully back into my body. So my goal was a clean and tidy house.
Oh, you were the clean and tidy house, yes.
Without becoming nagging crazy lady. So, and then I had a dragon as a cheerleader, and he was saying that you have really magical hands and you can do what you want, really. So, you know, he was just helping me to remember the magic in my hands, and a technique that I use for loads of things that I procrastinate about is the Pomodoro technique, the 25 minutes a day. You know, just do 25 minutes. You know, you can't do the dishes because that's just an everyday thing, but something cleaning every day, 25 minutes. And that felt really good. So yeah, it felt like a big shift and quite simple actually to transition into, and I was closer to it than I thought.
Yes.
It was nice. Yeah.
Yes. It was right next door. You just hadn't rung the bell.
Yeah. Thank you.
Great. That's lovely. Thank you. 25 minutes. Yeah. Thank you. Anyone else want to share? I've got Nicola here.
Nicole, yes.
Nicole.
Hi, Nicole. Okay.
Oops, sorry. Hi. My change that I want to make is to not be intimidated by a very bullyish neighbour. And I started off as the sort of classic little girl, but I think I turned into the bully. It went so far that I was like this massive face in the middle of the screen and everyone was running out of the cinema. So it was quite exciting because it was very empowering, but I don't know, I want to become, you know, a Trump, which is what it felt like. I was enjoying it. That's the truth. I really enjoy scaring the shit out of everyone.
Yes.
But I feel like that's not the mission here.
Well, that's not the final mission. That's the intermediate one, is you have to know about your power. And it's not the perfect picture yet for you, but you can then go back into the screen. This is a little bit like John. You go back into the cinema and ask for a picture that it balances all of you, because obviously on the one level it's great, and another level it's not what you want. You reminded me of the time I did a crossroad exercise and I took the path of power and I thought, this is good. You know, everybody thinks I'm wonderful, I'm doing a great job and so on. And then I came to death and I had nothing to meet death with. I was empty. And so I thought, no, I can't do it. You know, but it looked good for a while. So I understand it's enlisting your power, but also that's why you haven't done it. Because your fear is that you would become like that. And so now you need a better picture. Okay, but better, but that was a good one. Okay.
Thank you,
Okay, thank
Nicole.
you. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
We got time for one more person? Or how
Yeah,
are we doing?
okay. I think we're kind of getting into break time, but yeah, let's have one more. I can see
Okay.
Anne-Marie.
Anne-Marie, yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So we should have you. Ah, that's it, Anne-Marie.
Hi.
Hi,
How
Anne-Marie.
are you? Good. Just I wanted to ask you something about, I didn't get a clear vision of myself as I am now, but the rest of it worked quite well. So my change was moving forward with my business and not taking the long road where I'm just, you know, working with family and friends and saying, oh, don't worry, you know, you don't need to pay me, I'm happy to do it, to moving forward to a viable business. I couldn't really get the picture of myself as I am now. And I was panicking a bit in the, oh God, I haven't got it yet. And then I sort of just relaxed and said, you know, something came to me like, you haven't got a clear picture of you are now because you're in this halfway house where you've launched the business, but you haven't, you know, you're still in a safe kind of place where you have plenty of time and, you know, you're just helping people out. Yeah, so I suppose I was wondering, is it okay not to have that clear picture of how you are initially? Does that make sense?
I'm wondering if you don't have that clear picture because there's a bit of you that has already decided that you're going to do what you said. I think it may be that image of yourself as you are now isn't clear because you are almost there anyway. It's not a big difference. You've made that choice already. So you got to find something more difficult, Anne-Marie. I'm sorry. You've done this one already.
Yeah. No, but the rest was really helpful. All the expert and the cheerleader. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Who was your cheerleader?
It was actually a friend of mine that passed away like 20 years ago.
Oh, wow. How beautiful. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Anne-Marie.
Thanks, Dina.
That's a great question. Okay. So, John,
It's break time, isn't it?
I think we need to take a break, and also we're taking a break. We'll have 10 minutes. We're just 5 minutes late. We're not doing too bad, and we're going to, right after the break is going to be the breakout room. So we're going to show you again the picture of what you're going to discuss. And if you want to take some notes during the break, between getting a cup of tea, going to the loo, and screaming, then it's quite a good idea to take some notes at some point. Okay. So the next breakout room, what you're going to be sharing is, what did you learn from the two pictures? I want to emphasize something. A number of you said that was really interesting. Sometimes I do this exercise because I want to know how to get there. I want to get a picture of it. I don't quite know how to be that person. So I'm almost doing it for information because it gives me a way of understanding how to get there, what it is. It's not always that I need help in the will. Sometimes I just don't understand it. So that's why I'm asking, what did I learn from those two pictures? And then the next question is the one people always have to admit. What's attractive about staying where you are? Why is it that you might never want to change? And there you have to really be honest. And this, all the people that said I sabotage myself, you got to look at this question. What's attractive about staying where you are? And then, are you willing to go for this change? And to go for this change, if you remember, means I'm willing to do whatever I have to get there. And I'm willing to accept that I'm not all powerful and I'll still be okay if I don't get there. So that's what you'll be talking about in your groups. But for the time being, off you go to the break, and take a photo of these for your rooms, for your breakout rooms.
So use this, if anybody wants to use their smartphone, just to click a little picture so you've got those questions. And back at what, 43 minutes past, Dina, or come back at 22? So
yeah, say 22. So we have about 8 minutes maybe or something.
Great. Okay.
Okay. And I think some people asked, will they be in the same rooms as same group as they were before?
Yeah, same groups. We'll keep them the same throughout the workshop. Yeah.
Okay, that's great. Okay. So
back
ciao,
at 22.
ciao.
Yeah.
Back at 22.
Here we are. Yes, I think we're just about all back together. Yeah. It's good to see everyone back in the main room. So we're going to take some feedback, Dina, from the exercise and some comments.
I think right now, I want to look at the question of making a commitment, and then afterwards we'll talk some more about the more feedback.
Okay.
I want to look at this question. I want to do this business about making a commitment, asking and intending for this to be and releasing it. So before that, I want to hear the good stuff and the bad stuff about deciding to change. Are you ready to do it? Are you reluctant to do it? So again, you could put stuff in the chat room, or you could raise your hand, and we'll take a few minutes to hear from people about that step of actually saying, I'm going to go for this. Yeah. Anybody want to share? I've got Margot Gorman raising her hand.
Margot, let's see if we can take care of your audio. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I just want, in our group, there were a couple of us, and we weren't really, we said there wasn't a huge difference between the two images. So then we were really questioning whether, we really wanted to change. And then we said, well, okay, the main difference that we felt was the feeling inside, how you felt about yourself.
Well, that is a very big difference.
Okay, maybe.
That's the whole point of it.
Well, I suppose it was just like, don't really want to change where I live or even how I look, or, I just want to feel differently. And I said, I don't feel bad about myself. That was the other thing. I think I'm okay as I am. And there's something attractive about staying in my comfort zone.
So what was the change that you wanted, Margaret?
I wanted to be able to promote my books better. And for that, I need more confidence.
Okay.
And there were two things I found out that during the session, and then we discussed, and that is that I've been used to being on the fringes. I'm a kind of a fringe activist. I like to raise the flag. I like to be avant-garde. I like to be, getting other people active. Yeah. But always on the fringes, not really center stage. And then I suppose I learned from my expert that really I had to, if I was really going to make the change I want, I had to be willing and prepared to go center stage.
Yes.
And but for that, I have to feel differently about myself. I have to feel more confident. And
so did you get a picture of yourself center stage?
Yes, when I was center stage, I went onto the stage and I felt okay. And then I found that what vanished was the self-consciousness. And what happened was I felt that I really connected to the people that were there. And I wasn't sure whether they were, they were the people in the cinema, if you like.
Margot, were you saying there wasn't a big difference between the two pictures? You sounds like you had a really big difference.
Okay, maybe.
It sounds like you really understood what it's about. Is that when you walk on the stage, you're not thinking of you. You're connecting to the group.
Yes.
That's what it's about.
Yes.
You got
Thank
it.
you. That's good. I've got the light. I've seen the light.
You've seen the light. I want to tell you something interesting. I once did a workshop where we had to be someone else, and I became Bob Marley.
Okay,
And,
oh, great.
And so when I was on the stage, I realized it wasn't just that I was light, but the audience was light.
Yes.
So I connected to the audience.
That's what I want. That's the reason.
Yeah, that's the reason. So that is why you don't need to worry about being confident. You just need to think, do I want to connect to these people?
Yes. And then the next question we had in our group is, do we have the will and motivation to do the work that's needed to do that?
Yes. And what was the answer?
We might need a bit more exercise.
Okay. So that it really is the question. Do you have the will and the motivation? How important is it to you?
How important is it?
How important is it to you? And I guess it's probably quite important, or it wouldn't have come up today.
Yes. In our group, one of the other group members was wondering if really whether she'd brought what she really brought was important. So that's interesting as well. But
Right.
I know for me, it is important. It's important. It's why I'm sitting here. Otherwise, I could be out in the garden.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Well, thank you, Margot.
Yeah.
And I noticed that when you talk, you don't just talk about yourself, you talk about everybody else in the group. So that's part of your fringe activism, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, we've just lost your audio. Let's
Sorry,
let's see if we can unmute you again, Margot. Sorry about that.
It's good. And I just was saying what I miss most about sitting here on this hill in Donegal with the Donegal Bay out there, and I'm really privileged to be here. I'm alone because my husband's in Berlin, but I really felt more connected to people through this workshop than I've done in all the other Zoom sessions I've been in.
Great.
Yes.
And you know that we did make a decision, and you know, I said, let's connect. It's really important.
Yeah, I think that's
And I think I think that we have to do that every time.
Yeah.
We have to remember that we don't want to go into a distance place. And a lot of people are on their own right now.
Yeah, that's comforting, oddly enough.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Okay, thank you, Margot.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Margot. Thank you.
And I've got Jenny Mayer raising her hand.
Okay, Jenny, let's see.
Yeah. Well, to the question, are you willing to go for the change? My answer is I don't know. And I want to know what to do about that, which is kind of similar to what Margot was saying.
What to do about you don't know? Okay, all I can say is when we all get together and I say, are you willing to do this? You're going to ask your heart, am I willing? Ask your heart now.
When you said that, the answer yes came.
Okay, yeah. And I've got this little exercise called Mind, Heart, and Soul. So what does your mind up here say? The control mind. You could all try this, really useful. My mind says?
Mine says something like, I don't know if you've got the capacity to change.
Yeah, your mind's going yabba, yabba, yabba. And what is your heart saying?
Yes, I want to.
And what about, imagine you have a big light behind you, we'll call it the soul. What does the light say, the soul say?
You've got to try.
Because you'll be sorry afterwards if you haven't actually made that effort. Yeah. Okay. You're done.
Yeah. Hi.
Okay, yeah. Mind, heart, and soul is a very useful one because that's very typical. Your mind's going yabba, yabba, yabba. You're not good enough. You won't be able to do it. Blah, 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 blah. Why bother? You know, but that's not your truth, really. And someone is saying that you got me to yes. Brenda says that. Okay, good for you. Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Thank
And does anybody else need any help to get to a yes? And then we're going to go for it. Anyone else want some help? Or to get to a no? Which you can also do.
Yeah, I can see Madeleine's comments in a big realization, realizing I don't really want it. So that's also sounds important. Yeah. Brenda's just popped her hand up. Let's.
Okay, good. So, so Madeleine, this is a question of getting a different picture of what you do want. That's why you haven't done it till now, because you didn't really want that. And, you're going to get a picture of something you do want, which might be more a feeling. Yes, Jenny.
Oh, Brenda, I think.
Oh, Brenda.
Yes.
Oh, I've got the Jenny. Oh, where's Brenda?
Right here.
There you are. Oh, okay.
I just found it really helpful for you to say the mind, the heart, and the soul, because the mind is the one that says you're not ready yet. You need more certifications. You don't know everything, et cetera, et cetera.
Blah, blah, blah.
The heart says yes, and the soul says hell yes.
Oh, okay. That's a really good one. I know a lot of people now that use it. I've taught it to a lot of people who use it just ordinarily, just when you're just giving yourself a hard time. What does my mind say, my heart and my soul? Mm-hmm. And the mind has always got excuses and criticism and control stuff. I call this bit in the forehead the control mind. And there's also a bigger mind. So when we say the mind, I mean the control mind, the yabba, yabba, yabba one. The bigger mind is your wisdom mind. And that's kind of connected to the soul and the heart. Okay. So, and John wanted to say something, John Neal, and then we'll go.
Yeah, let's get you unmuted, John. Thank you, Brenda. That's it, John. Great.
I think you probably answered my question that I found that the block was partly to do with my own anxiety, and I needed another figure, a sort of helper, not only an advisor and a cheerer, but also a helper to say that they'd got me, that they were somehow holding me when I felt like I was panicking. And maybe that is the soul. Maybe that is the soul. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe that is the soul. The soul can be very protective. If you feel that soul behind you, holding you, it's very protective. And especially if you're going to agree with the soul about what you're going to do, then the soul will support you.
Yeah.
Did you get another picture that was going to work?
Oh, another one. No, not really. No, I got more just that I was going into a panic because it was like two things that were very important to me. One was the feeling of moving away from this place. The other was a great fear of letting people down. So the two were like throwing me into a spin, and then I suddenly heard this voice saying, I've got you, it's okay, it's okay.
Oh, how beautiful.
So that was the sort of
so when you feel held, what do you want to do?
I don't know, float away from here, somehow float into a better place. That's about it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you need to look at that more.
Okay.
Does that mean, because sometimes it's not something physical. Perhaps you're not actually going somewhere. I found many times I thought I wanted something physical, but it was actually a state of my mind, my heart, my soul that I wanted. You know? Okay. So you got to see what that is.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay, that's beautiful.
Thanks.
Thank you. Okay, so
thank you, John. And we got a little question from Justina.
Okay.
Asking to Do you see that in the chat room? To get to the yes, I think I need to go back into the pain of what happened in the past that has been stopping me. And does that make sense, Dina?
Yes, but I would say, Justina, you do have another choice, is that if your heart and soul want to do this, you can go for it now. And part of doing whatever you have to get there is doing that emotional work. So you could make the commitment, that's where you want to go. And then you can make the commitment at the same time that one of the things you're committing to is doing that work you have to do. But if you try to go back and do the work now, you'll miss the chance to make that commitment. Now you can always do it later, but it's quite nice to do it in the whole group. So that's what I would advise, Justina. Okay, so should we go for this? Now, I'm going to tell you what we're going to do. I'm going to ask you a couple of questions, and then I'm going to ask you to do something. And then at the end, I'm going to ask you to stand up and say something, which is, well, I'll do it as we go along. Okay. So, first of all, I'm going to ask you, are you willing to do whatever it is you have to get to this goal? Are you willing to do whatever you have to do to get to this goal? And if your mind's going yabba, 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 you might want to ask your heart and your soul, am I willing to do what I have to get to this? And the second question is, am I willing to release this? Now, somebody I noticed put in the chat, it's so hard to release. I feel I have to have it. And I think it's really important to know that we don't have to have anything, that we are already okay. And if we have to have it, it's a bit like, you're holding water in your hand so tightly that it comes out through your fingers, or sand. It doesn't work. You've got to trust that if it's not going to happen, you'll still be okay. And I have an expression in my book I was just talking to John about, on burnout. Stop, give up hope, keep the faith. Give up hope means give up the hope of whatever it is you think is more important than life itself. You may never, never, never have that. And keep the faith means, and I'll still be okay. So it doesn't work. The other way doesn't work. It leads you into stress, burnout, and worse. So give it up if you can. Okay. So the first question is, are you willing to do whatever you have to? And the second question is, are you willing to accept that you're not all powerful, that there is something that goes beyond you, whether it's your unconscious or fate or whatever? Some people say your unconscious comes to meet you. I think as Jung said, your unconscious comes to meet you as your fate. So, there are things that go beyond your conscious will, and we need to let that go and say, I'll do whatever I have to. And if I don't get there, I'll still be okay. And I'll be able to ask what's next. So if you're willing to do those two things, could you just raise your hand so I can see you with me? I'm willing to do what I have to do, but also to accept that I'm not all powerful. Okay. So if you are willing to do that, then I want you to say out loud, these words: I ask and intend for this to be, and I release it. So I ask and intend for it to be means I'll do whatever I have to and ask for help from the universe. And the second bit is, and I release it, meaning I don't have to have it and I can't make it happen. Okay. So I want you all to say this out loud. If you're not in, and if you're really in a space where you can't speak aloud, then say it in a whisper. Say it in a whisper very loud, in a very determined whisper, but hopefully you can say it out loud. I ask and intend for this to be, and I release it. Okay, do that again. I ask and intend for this to be, and I release it. And now I want you to put that picture of yourself as you will be in a bubble. And I want you to imagine that that bubble is in a larger bubble of everyone else in this group's bubble. Okay, so we've got this beautiful big bubble with all these small bubbles in them. And I want you to hold them like you can see me holding it with your two hands, holding this big bubble. Physically do this. Hold this big bubble. And you can say again, I ask and intend for this to be, and I release it. And then you're going to blow the bubble out into the domain of potential waiting to be actualized. Okay, so I ask and intend for this to be, and I release it. And now 1, 2, 3, blow. Blowing that big bubble with all the brave little bubbles off into the domain of potential waiting to be actualized. You don't have to keep looking at the goal. It's there, and it's going to motivate you to do what you have to do. Now, the next step is to take, and if you watch me, I'm using my hands, taking the feeling from the future and putting it into my heart now. Saying, thank you, it is already so. I already have that feeling. I want you to feel that future feeling right now. You don't have to get there. You can feel it now. You can feel what it feels like in the present moment. So taking that thing, thank you, it is already so. Now, the next bit is this shamanic invocation I learned many, many years ago. And it goes like this. You have to stand up, and then we're going to say, now this invocation is meant to, you're commanding the universe. I want you, even if you don't believe this is possible, imagine that you could do this. You command the universe to help you make this happen. Okay, you want the universe to align itself with you. The shamans believe that the elementals can, that they can tell the elementals what to do, and they do it. They change the weather and do all kinds of stuff. So try this. It's a very powerful thing, because what happens is that all your molecules seem to realign when you really get it. So it goes, I ask, oh no, and it goes, so must it, I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna say it, and then I'm gonna show you what you have to do. So you say, so must it be, and then you say now. And when you say now, so this is why I want you to stand up. Or you could do it and you see it's better standing up. So must it be now. You move your hand and you stamp your feet. The difference is I'm gonna ask everybody to unmute. And so we're going to hear everybody doing it. And if it's not strong enough, I'm going to ask you to do it again. Okay? So how I know it's strong enough.
For you tonight.
Take the camera.
It's in the fridge.
Don't worry.
No, I'm giving it to you.
Tomorrow.
Sorry, Dina. Sorry about that.
Okay.
Can you unmute? I think somehow the button I pushed managed to unmute everybody. So what I'm going to do is just allow
we want to
unmute
everybody.
Okay.
Well,
I think there's some
everybody.
conversations going on that shouldn't be unmuted. So if everybody who wants to unmute can unmute right now, let's do that. Good, that's happening now. Good.
Okay,
Sorry,
good. Anybody wants to unmute, we're all going to go together. You don't have to stand up and be seen. And now I'm going to stand up as well. Okay. So, and I'm going to do it with you. And if I think it's not strong enough, you'll have to do it again. Some of you know that I've made you do it 5 times, so you might as well do it right now.
Oh, no.
Okay. So I've got to get my chair up. Okay. So it's going to go like, I'm going to show you. It's going to go like that. So must it be, and then now, and then we're really going to do that. Okay. 1, 2, 3. So must it be. Ow. No. Don't forget, you're commanding the universe. You don't sound like you are. Okay? You've got to put some power into this.
Oh,
You've got to feel all your molecules are reorganizing themselves. Okay. So 1, 2, 3.
So much to
be.
No.
A little better, but it sounds a bit like a cat saying yeah. Once more, I want you to close your eyes, and I want to put all your power into this and feel the support and power of the group at the same time. Okay, so 1, 2, 3.
So must be no.
No. It must be no. Okay, ready now. Are you willing to try once more?
Yes.
Last time, and put everything into it. This is go for broke. Okay. So 2, 3. I got you. Okay.
So must be no. No.
Great. I've never done that with a big group like this. That was fun. Okay, so can everybody be muted now?
Let's do that. Let's
okay.
put the
And
microphones
now,
on mute. And Dina, I just need to unmute. Yeah, that's it.
I got it. So there's another step. Actually, you have to stand up again. I'm so sorry. If you're standing up, because I want you to see what the steps are to get there. Okay, so we're going to take 3 steps towards your goal. Okay, so better to stand up if you can. So first, step number 1, put your foot forward, close the feet together. Step number 1, feel what you're getting from the earth. What is step number 1? Okay, next, put the other foot forward and close it. Step number 2. What is step number 2? And then put your right foot, or whatever one was first, again forward, put them together. Step number 3. Okay, great. Have a seat. You're allowed to sit again. Okay, so good. So anybody want to share what the 3 steps were? Or anything about that process? Or anybody want to ask for some help?
Oh, Jane, I can see you waving. Let's see if we can get you unmuted.
Hi, after the first one, connecting to the earth, I didn't get what the other 2 were. I missed it somehow.
What the 3 steps you mean? Or
yeah.
So you just have to do it again. Put your first foot forward, close them. My first step is put the other foot forward, close it. Second step is other foot forward, third step. These things can be repeated. If you don't get them, you just do it again.
Okay.
Just go back into that state and do it again.
Okay.
It's still there waiting for you.
Okay.
There's a couple of colleagues in the chat room saying they're not understanding the steps. So
the steps. Okay. Anybody want to say what you're not understanding? Because I'm not understanding what you're not
anybody want to wave? Or Amanda, let's see if we can unmute you. Okay. Are you getting the invite on your screen to unmute?
Hi, Dina.
Where are
you? Hi, Dina. Yeah, hi.
Oh, yeah, hi.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I got this command in the universe, but then I kind of lost it, what the steps meant. I got confused. I don't know.
What the steps mean? It means that you're going somewhere. What are your first steps to get there?
Oh, I see. So you then think, what is my first step? What is my second step? What's my third step?
Yeah, but you don't think it. You take a step and you're asking asking it from another level. So when I put my feet together, it's almost as if it comes out of the earth, what my first step is.
Oh, I see. So you're sort of intuiting what the
yeah, you're intuiting, you're discovering it, you're not telling yourself.
Oh, okay. I completely didn't understand
No,
that.
no, but it's very helpful that you said that, because it's about how we use the intuition through the imagery to find out what we don't know, rather than to, give ourselves what we think we know, because what we think we know often comes from the control mind.
So it's as we take the steps, then we just become aware of what comes.
Exactly. You take the step and you go, oh, so that's what it is.
Okay,
like
I'm
that.
with you now.
Okay, thank you for asking. That's very helpful.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
And Margot, I see you've got your hand up. No, there might be something else or not.
No, I thought I'd take my hand down actually, but I just want to say I was in the same, I didn't know what these steps were about. And then all of a sudden, when Dina asked, what's the earth given? It said energy. It answered me. It answered Dina, not me. Energy. And then I thought, oh, what next? And action. And then a bit of doubt. So I had reflection.
Okay, you got it. Those are your 3 steps.
No.
Great. Yeah, we have to ask we have to ask. We don't have to tell, in a way. The telling was only, someone's asked what was the stump, and it's almost like what they say is that you use your one arm and your foot to make a gesture. We have to do it physically, so we go, it's almost to be now, and then I feel completely at one with that decision. Okay. Anybody else? Anybody have any questions or need some help?
Oh, Carolina, I can see you waving. Oh, let's see if we can.
Yes.
That's you. Great.
Yes. Hi. I mean, I'm very willful. I get things done, kind of thing. I'm very good at meeting targets and all of that stuff. I found those steps were just I just drop. That sort of conversation that just says, stop trying, please, just stop trying.
Yeah, it's very
trying to change.
It's really interesting. You use the word willful. Willful is different from the will. Because it's willful is when we command one part of us to do what the other part is instructing us to do. Willful is part of you, is driving you, isn't it? Yeah, so you're willful, but you're also driven. You're driving and you're driven. The will is when all of you says, yes, I'm going for this. And so, that willfulness probably is like intending but not releasing. You're going to do this at any price. Go, do it. Yeah, and that's stressful, and it's not a way to live, is it? You get the thing done, but you're also done.
We learn that, don't we? It's exhausting. It's exhausting.
It's exhausting, absolutely. The struggle to make it happen is exhausting. And whereas if you had your will kind of taking you along, you just have to do the thing. You wouldn't have to drive yourself as well.
Okay, I hope I can get that.
Yeah. So that you have to put your will behind that. You say, I really want to get that. I can get that. And I'm willing to do what I've been told to do, which is to let go, stop pushing, see what happens. It's a real risk. It's a risk to take. I remember when I was writing, I think it was Joy of Burnout, near the end, and I got that sort of message, stop stressing about it, just do it. I said, well, what if I can't do it? And the answer was try it. And I did. I finished it on time. So it worked. Okay. Now, anybody else? I want to say something about this exercise as well. And then I'd like to hear from anybody else who wants to comment about it. Some of you are therapists, teachers, people, that kind of thing. This exercise is a terribly useful exercise to give people not just to do with you, but to give as homework, that people keep doing it. And I remember I had, I wrote about this in one of my books. I had a student, an African student who didn't speak very good English, and all the teachers said, he's not going to make it, you know, and they really weren't very helpful to him. And he came to see me. He was determined to get his degree. And so we did this exercise, and then he went home and he did it, and he did it, and he did it, and he did it before his exam. And instead of being the one that was going to fail, he got an award for the student that made the most progress, and he got a good degree. And he did it, you know, I may have spent 15 minutes here and there with him. He did the rest of the work. And that's one of the advantages of the imagery, is that you can give people homework, and they can do it themselves, and it makes a difference. And the other thing I want to say, there's another different kind of issue some people have, which is it's too hard to imagine yourself as this future person. And I was going through my I think it was life choices, and I remembered a student of mine who was terrified of talking in a seminar, so terrified she wouldn't go to a seminar if she thought she might have to speak. And so at first we did this exercise, and she couldn't imagine herself. So I said, think of somebody else who could do it. And then eventually, it's what we call the salami approach, you know, think of somebody else who could do it. And then think of yourself doing it, but just for a second, and so on. We just kept working at it. And in the meantime, the changes started happening in the world. One day she was in a seminar, and she was so angry about what someone said, she blurted out something. That was the first time she'd ever spoken in a seminar. And this went on like that. And then many years later, I met her on the tube, and she told me she was still talking to that confident person on that screen. She was still doing the work and getting that help. So I want to emphasize that these kind of exercises that we do, and you'll find them in the books, and you can get an MP3 of any of the exercises from my website. They're not once and for all with a therapist, with a teacher. There's something that can be carried on in people's lives. That's something I do all the time. You know, I get help from all the images. Okay, so is there anything else anybody wants to ask for help, or say what worked for them, or, you know, give us a clue about something?
We got a question in the chat room about, is it one hand or two, one arm or both to command the universe?
One arm. One arm,
okay.
one foot. Yeah.
One arm, one foot. Great.
Yeah. But probably the universe doesn't care that much.
Okay. If it's somehow possible to use both arms and legs at the same time.
Well, as I remember, I took this course many years ago, but when I remember and wrote down was you use one arm and use one arm and one leg and make your own gesture. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Vanessa. I found the gestures and steps helpful. Actually moving shifted something in me.
Yeah, and you should feel that the molecules are moving. If you've done it with power, you feel all the molecules in you moving around, and it makes a change. It does create a new self in a sense. Yeah. Anybody else? I'd love to hear from anybody.
I'm sure I saw someone waving at the camera a moment ago and then missed them. So.
I've got here, it says Fiona Wright.
Oh, Fiona, great. Thank you, Fiona.
Oops. Am I heard? Yes.
Yes, who got you, Fiona?
Yeah,
Thank
I just
you.
wanted to say thank you for the connection with people and the sense of humour. I saw somebody writing in the chat that their dog got scared when they did that. Commanding the universe, and my cat has been with me during this exercise. And then when I did those 3 steps, the first step she sort of looked at me, the second step she went to the door, and demand it to be let out. And then the third step, I open the door. And I thought, well, maybe that's just it. You know, just following what is around me and what I'm picking up when somebody talks about their dog and it makes me laugh. And then my cat, you know, it's just being with what is there. So that's what I got from it. Thank you.
Okay, great. Okay, thank you. And did you get anything about the steps as you were walking them? Or was it more walking with your cat, kind of?
Not really, not really.
Okay.
I think maybe it was all too quick for me.
It was quick, yeah. It was quick. Yeah, I was being very quick at that point. Yeah.
I'll do it
Sometimes I
again.
forget. Yeah, do it again. Do it again. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Fiona. Okay.
Vivian Vermes also gave me a wave. I just wanted, so I don't forget you, let's see if we could get you unmuted.
Is that it?
That's it, Vivian. Yes, we got you. Yes.
Oh God, this is so weird, this technology. I can't believe it. So mine was all going swimmingly well until right at the end. So I suppose my question is it's about the voice of doubt.
Yeah.
And what I do with the voice of doubt.
Yeah.
So I'll be brief. The character on the stage was spinning, 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 a bit like John's.
The first one.
The first one, a cartoon character.
Yeah.
With the head spinning round like Tom and Jerry, but just the head, faced with, you'd be surprised, indecision between two options.
But what was the change you wanted?
So then the change was simply, very, very simple, just to breathe and be calmer.
No, but what was the change you asked for?
Oh, at the beginning, it was a choice between, a big life choice between, in fact, which website I should be choosing. But it feels like an identity issue. Then I got caught in the indecision. And then it was simply about calming down.
Well, sorry, I'm not getting it. The change you wanted was to know what website to choose.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, it's complicated. And I was getting in such a state about it.
Yes.
I could not even breathe properly.
Yes.
It was simply, first step is simply start breathing properly.
Yes.
All. And then the guide was Jacques Cousteau, the sea diver.
Yeah.
He was just saying, go down, go deep and breathe.
Yes.
And it was wonderful to be breathing.
Yes.
And then it was simply about just doing 10 minutes meditation a day to start with. Simple.
Yes.
I'm with it. I'm going to do it. It's fine. I'm there. This is really easy. And I felt very good about the simplicity. And then at the very last, I think you asked a question about, it's about what was the previous state giving you? Why did one want to stay in the comfort zone?
Yeah.
And the voice came very clear, I don't want to go deep.
I don't want to go deep.
So my question is, that voice coming in, I willfully dismissed it. When you were talking about being willful, one part of me, the part that wants to be calm, is saying, go away, go away. You don't want to go deep, go away. So I'm wondering whether to give that space and explore, I don't want to go deep, which means going deeper.
Yes, you got it. You
So
got
I
it.
answered my question.
You answered your question. When you're still and you explore that, because what seemed to happen is you didn't trust your own process and you got your mind involved in making the decision, which wasn't the point. The point was you trust your images, as you know very well. So somehow you wouldn't let the images decide, you were going to do it yourself. And so really, you've got to surrender.
And it was all about trust.
Yeah.
It was all about trust.
You've got to surrender.
Exactly.
You've got to trust the bigger you, not the bit of you that thinks it knows all the answers.
Yeah, and it goes back to the head spinning, spinning
exactly.
In the middle of the stage. Exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Vivian. You answered your question. Lots of love.
Lots of love.
Thank you, Vivian. That's great.
Okay. So
Sarah next, is that okay?
Yeah.
How are we doing for time?
Yeah, we're doing not so good.
Not so good. Okay. Okay.
I think we have another, yeah, we have another few minutes. Yeah,
Okay.
and that, yeah, okay, another few minutes. Who else wants to speak? Sarah.
Okay, Sarah, yes.
Hi.
Oh, I think we need to try and unmute you again. That's it. Oh no, it keeps coming and going. Let's try again. Okay.
Okay.
That's it now, Sarah. Thank you.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
I've got a dodgy connection and it always goes when it's something really vital. So
of course.
But my heart is beating, probably upset the laptop. When you asked us, am I determined to do whatever it takes?
Am I willing to do?
Am I willing, sorry, am I willing to do whatever it takes?
Yeah.
My first response really frightened me because my change is to spring myself from working within the NHS.
Wow.
Because in this exercise, I told myself I had done what I set out to do, which was about 30 years ago, to go in and subvert the medical model. So I'd achieved that, but now it's got to the point where the government is bigger than those.
Oh, I think we have lost you for a moment, Sarah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Dina, are
Sarah's
you
frozen.
hearing Sarah? Yeah.
No, Sarah's frozen as far as I could see.
Oh, maybe we'll get Sarah back in a moment.
Yeah, maybe we'll get Sarah back later. Okay. So is there anything else? Or should we go on?
There was Vivian Shaw wanted. You did have your hand up for a moment, but maybe you. Let me just request you to unmute. See if you wanted to make a comment.
Yes. Hi. It's Vivian here. Yes.
Hi, Vivian. Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to share a couple of things. Actually, when we set off this big balloon to go, you know, I have some robins living in the hedge just next to my back wall, garden wall. And when I set the balloon off, one of them flew with it. So it was good. Well, no, it's just what I see anyway.
Yeah.
The other one is about the molecular change. I just want to share that because it was quite powerful when we did the new, you know, the second image in the first part. And I just kind of had this great thing kind of coming out of my shoulders, like this energy, you know, it's like light or energy, but it just kind of came off my shoulders, which is quite good. You know, it's like, it's not the first time this has happened in an image. It was like maybe about 12, 13 years ago when I was doing some workshops in London with you. And that it's always sometimes just something that would give this tremendous relief. So yeah, thank you. That's all.
All I can say, Vivian, it sounds like your wings.
Ooh, not bad. Yeah.
Coming off your shoulders. Yeah, I'd say those are your wings. Yeah. So you can fly with the bird now, Vivian.
Whoa, thank you.
Okay.
And Sarah's managed to make it back in. So we see if we can bring Sarah back on. Let's have another go, Sarah. We're just trying to unmute you, Sarah. So let's see if you get a message on your screen to unmute. That's great. No, we're not quite there yet.
Is that okay now?
That's you,
yes.
Sarah.
Okay. Yeah. Sarah, sorry.
If ever we doubt that our energy field impacts on things.
So springing yourself in the National Health, and then what happened?
And then when you uttered the words to do whatever it takes.
Yeah.
That's when I felt a kind of a clutch of fear. Excuse me a minute. A clutch of fear around my heart, and I felt I could be without a home. And I've had that a few times in my life, either without a home or unsuitable homes. And I went into a freeze. Now I recovered myself enough to think whatever it takes to make the next step. So I was able to take the next step in the exercise. But I suddenly felt that if I didn't voice that, I'd be bottling out. And I'm probably not the only person on this call who part of their fear of the future is, you know, the future just imploding inwards.
Yes.
And what
I
you
would
said about if the two things aren't aligned, then we'll continue not to make it happen.
Yes, and it may be, again, like we've started off with John and we had a few other people, that this goal of yours maybe is biting off more than you can chew right now, because you haven't worked out what you're going to do about the home and all that kind of stuff. And so I would say you've got to make sure that picture is aligned with your whole self and your whole life. And maybe it isn't quite, maybe it's a little bit willful and it needs a little bit more work to understand that you can get a picture that doesn't make you quake with fear.
Yeah.
Because I would feel that if your heart is doing that, it didn't sound like just anxiety. It sounded like a real serious fear. And I would listen to, I would have a conversation with your heart. I would listen to it. I would take the time to figure out what goal would also keep you safe.
Thank you. Yes, you're quite right, because I've had some very, very dodgy health stuff, cancer and things like that. And there is something about having a job that's quite containing and comforting.
Yeah.
And it provides the
It
hope.
may be that what you want to do by springing yourself in the NHS, you can do in some other way. So maybe you need to think about what is it that you're trying to do by springing yourself from there? And is there another way that you can do it which would keep you safe?
Yeah.
You know, somebody, I was listening to a workshop of someone named David White, some of you may know him. He was talking about the right kind of risk and the wrong kind of risk. And it may be that that was slightly the wrong kind of risk for you.
Yes. Yeah, thank you. That feels a lot better, because I how strong the fear was, because I mean, I've done the training with you. I know how powerful this work is. And I felt that if that is that strong, it will sabotage anything I try.
Yeah, yeah. And maybe it's not sabotaging, but it's having a voice, which it needs to be listened to.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Take care.
Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye. Okay, so I think we're nearing the end. I just want to say something about, and then John will take over, about the next workshop. And now, first of all, in terms of following up this, if people want to do the exercise again, I'm sending out a letter, online events, which will give you a copy of this exercise and also tell you where you can go. So I'm just going to remind you that a lot of these exercises are in these books. You Are What You Imagine, Joy of Burnout, Life Choices, and then there's, of course, the memoir. But also, I really advise you to go onto the website and download any exercise that would be useful to you. The ones that come from Life Choices, which might be this one by itself, costs £3.25. Okay, so you could probably afford to do that, and that will take you through it. It's really worth, and if you're working with a group or something like that, you can play that. Connected to You Are What You Imagine is an MP3 which has 10 exercises. And I often assign that book and those exercises to people to take themselves through the whole process. So that's very useful and much cheaper than seeing a therapist. So I'm doing myself out of a job. And the next workshop was meant to be in December. We're thinking of not doing December because people don't usually sign up for things in December, but then going into January, and the dates are somewhere. I can give them to you in a minute. I think it's January 11th, February 8th, and March 8th on a Monday morning again for 2.5 or 3 hours. So going back to the Monday morning. Now, if anybody particularly wants a December workshop, could you put that in the chat? Also, if anybody wants anybody that wants a particular topic that they really want help with, or wants a particular exercise that you've done with me in the past or that you know about. And someone's asking for my website, which is dinaglouberman.com, www.dinaglouberman.com. So that should be simple. So if anybody particularly wants us to go on in December, put it down. But if we don't, we're going to go January, February, March. And and then the first workshop, I think, couldn't be called Forgiving Self, Forgiving Life, Beginning Again. It's a very powerful experience. A lot of you have done it. Some of you have done it with me. And where we really uncover all the feelings we have about life and death. And then we can move on. You know, because some of our anger and resentment and feelings are not about people, but about how we've been treated by life and how we fear death or whatever we feel about death. Okay, so that's the idea. And then probably we'll do another visioning possibly and another workshop. So we'll see, but I'm looking forward to also hearing from you what your heart's desire would be. Okay, so thank you. And John, over to you.